Hi everyone, I'm Rincey and this is Rincey Reads. Today I'm going to be doing my November wrap-up. Before I get started with that, I do just want to quickly say that I'm going to be doing vlogmas again this year. November was kind of a crazy, weird month. I was traveling, there was construction happening in my house, so I didn't have space to be able to record. Life was exhausting. I'm getting over a sickness. I don't know if you can hear that on me. So that basically meant that I didn't make all of the videos that I wanted to make in November. So when I realized that, I figured I might as well just do vlogmas again. I really enjoyed doing it last time because it was just like fun creatively. It was a nice way to be able to get out all of these video ideas I have in my head that I want to make all year round but just don't have the time to do. And so doing vlogmas is just like a great way to get a whole bunch of videos out to you guys, so hopefully you guys are excited. Just like I did last year, I'm going to be including my book riot videos into my vlogmas calendar, so that way I'm not forced to make 2 videos on one day. So on Sundays, I'm going to be over on Book Riot. Mondays and Tuesdays, I'll have videos here. Wednesdays, I'll have videos on Book Riot, and then Thursday, Fridays, I will have videos here. And then Saturday, I'm actually giving myself the day off because even though it's vlogmas, it's still my channel, and I know myself to know that I need a day off. So yeah, if there are any videos that you would like to see me do, definitely leave a comment down below and let me know. I have most of my calendar filled out. I was very surprised to see that happen. But I do still have a couple of empty days here and there, so if you have any ideas of anything that you want to see from me, definitely leave a comment down below and I will try my best to see if I can do that this month. So now on to the wrap up. First, the videos that I made this month. The first video that I made was my November TBR-ish, and I'm really glad that I always put the disclaimer that I'm bad at TBRs because once again, I'm bad at TBRs. I did read some of the books that are on the TBR. I will get to that at the second half of this video, but you know, as per usual, that was mostly just hopes more than actual plans. But honestly, I'm fine with it. I'm kind of glad that I just made that TBR because I do want to read more nonfiction, and I think I'm just going to be incorporating that into just what I'm reading on the regular. Next, I did a Book of the Month unboxing video. Book of the Month sent me 3 out of their 5 November picks, so you can check that video out if you haven't already and you want to see what books I got. I haven't read any of the books yet except for one, which is the book that I read before they sent it to me, so yeah, I need to get on that. Then I did a video talking about what's left on my TBR. Like I said, we did construction in my house. We got rid of the carpet that's on the second floors, which includes my room. And so one of the things I had to do was to take all of the books out of my room. And since I did that, I decided to do a big clear out of just all of my books, and that included my TBR books. So now I have less than 50 books on my TBR, which was one of my New Year's resolutions. So you can check out that video to see what is left on my TBR pile. And then I did a Friday read / mini New York City wrap-up haul video. It was just a loose video that I did to update you guys on what's going on and just connect with you guys again. So check that out if you haven't already, especially if you want to see some of the new books that I added to my TBR. So now on to the books that I read this month. The first book that I finished in the month of November was The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johnson? Yes. Or Johansson. This is the first book in the Queen of the Tearling series, or Queen of the Tearling trilogy. The 3rd book in the series just came out in November, I want to say. Yeah, I decided to get that as an ebook from the library, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. It might be closer to a 3.5. It's definitely a book that's full of setup, and it's definitely a book that's slow moving, which I was completely okay with. It's very violent, it's very graphic, way more than I was expecting. The way this book is designed, like the cover, it makes it look like a YA fantasy book. Definitely not YA. In this book, you are following this girl named Kelsey, who is basically the heir to the throne, but she is kind of a reluctant heir. She was taken away from her mother. Her mother sent her off and put her into hiding while she was reigning for reasons that aren't really clear in the book, at least as of yet. But now her mother has died, and so she is being whisked back to the throne, and it seems like everybody wants her dead, even though she is the queen. It's kind of confusing a little bit. There's a lot of like political stuff happening in this book, and they aren't super clear about everything that's happening. And Kelsey, the main character herself, because she was off in the woods by herself, she's not even completely clear on what's happening. So it's very intriguing, and I'm definitely going to be picking up the 2nd and 3rd books in the series, or at least the 2nd book, because I want to see what's going on and I want to see if they answer more questions. I feel like this book, again, like I said, was a lot of setup, but there's a lot of really interesting characters in here. Kelsey is really fantastic main character. I think she's very flawed and is very like headstrong and stubborn sometimes, and she makes some like poor decisions, but you can see that she's just trying to do the best that she possibly can with the information that she has, and people are, you know, hiding things from her, and people are not always telling her the full truth, and there's a lot about her life and her family and this kingdom that she's not aware of that are starting to come to light in this book. So like I said, it's definitely interesting. I already have the second book checked out as an ebook from the library, so I plan on trying to get to that in December. The next book that I finished was Blood at the Root, A Racial Cleansing in America by Patrick Phillips. This is a nonfiction book that I read. Patrick Phillips was at Book Riot Live and he was on the panel that I was moderating, so I was reading this book specifically for that. This nonfiction book details the racial cleansing that happened in Forsyth, Georgia, which is this specific county in Georgia that was inhabited by both black and white people, and then in the, I think it was about the 1920s, all the black people in the county are completely driven out after a white girl is raped and murdered, and the people in the town suspect that this one black person did it, and then they keep it as an all-white county. And so Patrick Phillips actually moved there from Atlanta when he was in like elementary school or middle school, and now as an adult he like looks back on that experience and he talks about the history of this county. He does a lot of research to be able to see what actually happened. He looks into the cases, he looks into what the people in the county even say happened and their attitudes and how something like this could happen and stay that way for so long. I think that it's really well done. It's not very long, it's less than 300 pages, but he includes like an extra like 100 pages of notes in the back of the book, and he said this at Book Riot Live, but he wanted to do that so that way the people of Forsyth County couldn't say that he made any of this stuff up. He worked really hard to be able to get access to certain records and to be able to see where people lived and where some of these families owned homes that they were driven out of and things like that. It's really, really well done. I highly recommend it. The next book that I finished was The Unseen World by Liz Moore. This is a literary fiction book that I picked up from the library. I had seen a couple of people here on BookTube talking about this book and it sounded really interesting, so I decided to just put it on hold at the library, and I love this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It might be closer to a 4.5 actually for me. It was very close to being a 5-star book for me. In this story, you are following this girl named Ada. She is raised by a single father named David, and David is an eccentric and brilliant scientist, and he ends up homeschooling Ada and sort of teaches her beyond what her age would normally require. He like takes her to the lab with him and has her working on experiments, and she's just ends up being like this really smart, great scientist just like her father. As Ada's growing up, she realizes around the age of like 13, 14 that her father's memory is starting to go. Because of this, she ends up having to move in with a family friend of theirs, and then she starts to learn all of these details about her father and that there is an entire history to her father that she doesn't even really realize, and she's not sure what's the truth and what's not the truth anymore. And so she goes on this large quest to be able to solve this mystery of who her father is and what the truth is in his history. Like I said, this is a really fantastic book. I'm not going to talk too much about it here because I'm going to do a full review on it in this month for one of my vlogmas videos, so I'm going to stop there. But this was so fantastic. If you like literary fiction at all, I feel like this is a book worth picking up. If you like father-daughter relationships, if you like coming-of-age novels, all of that is included in here. It's so, so fantastic. But like I said, all more coming in the review. And then the final book that I finished this month is Ballad of the Whiskey Robber by Julianne Rubinstein. The subtitle to this is A True Story of Bank Heists, Ice Hockey, Transylvania, Pelt Smuggling, Moonlighting Detectives, and Broken Hearts. That subtitle basically sums up the whole thing. This book was so much fun. I also highly recommend getting this on audio. My library actually had the audiobook of this available, so I decided to just take a chance and see what it was like, and it was so funny. There's also a lot of guest spots done in this audiobook, which is something that I always really appreciate. This story is so just like wacky and unreal, and you read some of this stuff and you just don't believe that it's actually happening. So basically you are following the story, this is nonfiction by the way, you're following the story of this man named Attila Ambrose who lived in Hungary in the 1990s. He's still alive, I believe. He was someone who was playing for this hockey team. He's someone who's like very much a smooth talker. When I was reading this book, I was reminded a lot of the movie Catch Me If You Can, because I feel like a lot of those traits are also in this guy. But yeah, he basically smooth talks his way onto a hockey team, and it becomes like one of the most successful hockey teams in Hungary. But he's not really earning very much money because of the way that Hungary's economy was during this period. They were going through a lot of wars and things like that, and so he ends up robbing banks basically, and the people of Hungary think that this is so fantastic. Like, people don't really know that Attila is the one who is robbing the banks, but they just know that there is this bank robber on the loose who's fooling all of the police officers in this area, and they just think that's so fantastic because they don't like the police officers and they don't like the government. So it's sort of like this Robin Hood type story, and everyone's sort of rooting for Attila almost, and you end up as a reader sort of rooting for him as well. It's just so fascinating, and a great thing about this book as well is that you get some history about Hungary during this period, which is something that I wasn't expecting, but I really appreciated that. It provides a lot of context to the things that were happening in this book. But yeah, it's so much fun. If you are looking for a fun nonfiction read, this is really fantastic. It's also relatively short as well, less than 300 pages, or right around the 300 page mark, but it's a really fast read. I read this one in just a couple of days this week. So yeah, that is basically my November. If you have any questions about any of the books or videos that I talked about, definitely leave a comment down below and I will do my best to try to answer them. Also, again, just as a reminder, I am doing vlogmas, so if you have any ideas for videos you want to see from me, definitely leave that down in the comment section below. Otherwise, feel free to leave a comment down below letting me know what your favorite read of November was. Mine was definitely The Unseen World by Liz Moore. I have a very strong feeling that's going to end up on my best of list for this year. So yeah, that's all I have for now, and thanks for watching.